Guys, you're welcome once again to the channel. This is the third section of the tutorial episode on creating basic server using JavaScript and Java and some of the framework. So previously we are still talking on the node where we have a server being set up. We have this is the server being set up here. We're able to create and establish a database. We're able to set up our tables, which is on the model folder, and now we basically just create the functions that will be working with that will be communicating this database. So we'll have that in our service folder. So we can go ahead and just create a file here. Let me call it user service.js. So this is where we'll be having every of the functions, where we'll be working with ORM and making all the interactions to our database. So first thing we need to import in our database setup, and we have that which is our model. So we'll give it the name user from our model file here. You can see it right here. If I actually go back, we'll have it exported user. And if you skip this part of the section where we have the setup, you can check the previous tutorial, and it's just some couple of minutes, and you can just take a look at that and then catch up with where we are at the moment. So I want to import that, so I'll use the require, and then we'll go in, we'll dive deeper into where the project is. I'll need an equal sign symbol there, so we can have some intelligence. So we have that in our model file, and then within our model file, this is where we have the user model being set up. Okay, so we can basically create we can have a class where we hold this user service written all together. So we can call it user service. We're not going to be needing a constructor for this class, so just go ahead and create the method. So let me itemize the step. We need a method to create user or register user, any way you want to call it. We need one to get all user. As what we're doing, we need one to get user by ID. We'll need that, and then we need the one to delete. You need to delete user by ID as well, and this is ID. And then lastly, we'll be getting an update. We do want to update user by ID as well. So basically, this is all the method we're going to be creating. So let's start from the create. So since we'll be using ORM, we'll be communicating to a database, it's important we make our method asynchronous. So we know a node is single threaded, and it's very important. Any kind of interaction you're making with some database or some kind of API call, you make it asynchronous, so you have a non-blocking operation. So I'll create an asynchronous method there, and you can call it create. Let's call it create user, and then this will accept some payload from the body, and then the payload will actually be an object containing name, email, and password, just like what we have there. And then I want us to return we will be returning we'll await whatsoever the operation will be. We want to await user dot create. So that, if you can see here, when we call on the user, which is from our Sequelize setup and our model, if we use the dot, we can see some kind of option. These are some of the method the ORM is providing us, right? We have the create, and all of that. And if I take that out, if I just put on the dots, we can see so many of the queries, so many of the SQL commands that that the ORM is providing us. So we want to work with the create method because we want to register a user this time around. So the payload we are getting, we'll just use the spread operator. We want to spread whatever we have within our payload there, and then save that to our database. So that is very basically how we work with the create method. Just spread whatever that is, and then we'll return that is how we have our create method. And then for the get, we're also going to be creating an asynchronous operation here, and we can call it get all users. And then this function is not taking in any inputs, and then we'll return an awaited result as well. Since we're doing that, we want to get user dot find. Want to use the dot find all. This will find all and return all what we have within our database. And that is just one line of command on how we can do the get all user. And then for the get by ID, we also need to create an asynchronous method there. So I'll call it get user by ID. And then so this is actually going to be taking in some ID variable. We need to pass in the ID of the user we want to get if we want to work with this function. And then we'll also return an awaited result. Also return let me correct my word there, return an awaited result of user dot Sequelize have a find by ID or find by PK. I mean, PK means primary key, so we'll use that method. And then this will require this Sequelize method require us to pass an ID. You can say we need to pass an identifier, and then identifier is what we are passing in as the input parameter to this function. Find by